Yeah.
Mr. Collins?
How are you? You too.
Bruce isn't coming tonight, right?
That's the word. That's the word.
Happy to hear that.
Absolutely.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Board of Education reorganization and regular business meeting for which adequate notice on the Open Public Meetings Act was provided by written notice on January 5th, 2018. To the Courier News, the Echo Sentinel, the Star Ledger, tapped into Warren, and the clerks of the borough of Watchung, and the townships of Greenbrook, Long Hill, and Warren. If we could stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'd like to welcome the public and the folks watching to our annual reorganization meeting. I am Tim Stiles, the board secretary. I will run the meeting until we elect the president, which will be a little bit later. But my first course of action will be to announce the election results, which I think we all know by now, but from Long Hill Township, Lisa DiMizio, from Warren Township, Peter Fallon, and from Watchung Borough, Freddie Hayak. Did I say that right? Hayak, thank you. And my next course of action, which is always one of my favorites, is to administer the oath of office to each of our members. So Lisa, will you step up front first? I wish I could read reading glasses.
Do you want the microphone?
So if you could raise your right hand and just repeat after me. I
You want me to read it?
You can.
Okay. Am I reading both paragraphs or just?
Both paragraphs, yeah.
I, Lisa DiMizio, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, to the governments established in the United States and this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Lisa DiMizio, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Which is good for Tim.
I'll give you a choice. You can read it.
I can read
So raise your right hand.
I, Peter Fallon, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Peter Fallon, do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Give you the same opportunity.
Freddie,
You can read it
so
off the
you
thing.
know, the first time Lisa and I did it, we had somebody read it, we just repeated.
I'll follow suit, I'll just read it myself, I
Okay,
guess.
go right ahead.
I, Freddie Hayek, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the government established in the United States and this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Freddie Hayek, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of the Board of Education, and I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. For the press, I'm sorry.
That's my mom. I got
For Freddie's mom.
my mom.
Oh.
Mom first, then the press. There we go.
Thank you, everybody.
John is busy, made it all at the same time.
Efficiency, huh?
Get it done. Just here, okay.
Okay. We got a board.
Yay.
Tim, do you need to collect those as well?
Yeah, from Freddie and Lisa, if you guys can,
Adios.
you're gonna have to sign
I'm
these.
just gonna
and bring
sign
them
now,
over.
right?
Yeah.
With the decision?
All right, let me take a roll call.
These will go to you.
Thank you. All right, we'll call it roll. Ms. Barone?
Here.
Mr. Collins?
Here.
Ms. DeMizio?
Here.
Mr. Fahey?
Here.
Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Here.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
and Dr. Shabilsky?
Here.
Okay. Move to item number 7, election of president. I will now open the floor for the nominations for the position of board president. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Secretary, I'd like to move that we elect Mr. Peter Fallon as President of the Board of Education.
Second.
Okay, is there any other nominations? Okay, hearing no other further names, can I get a motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. So since Peter's our only candidate, I guess we'll have a roll call for Mr. Fallon as board president. Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. DeMizio?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Abstain.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
and Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Fallon, you will take the role of president of the Board of Education. Copy. Congratulations, Peter.
Congratulations.
The next item of business is election of the vice president of the board. I'll open the floor for nominations. Ms. DeMizio?
I'd like to nominate Chris Collins.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Can you do a roll call vote, Mr. Stice?
Sure can. Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. DeMizio?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Abstain.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
Okay.
Musical chairs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who seconded the nomination or vote?
The
No,
nomi-
The nomination. Who-
To close the nominations.
I
Bob
did.
seconded it.
Bob, second.
Thank you.
I did one or the other.
Yeah.
One of-
Yeah. It's a good thing
All
nominated.
day now.
Bob seconded, right?
It's hard on the neck.
We'll just take it
For
from
Chris,
there.
yes.
Okay. Good. All right. Wow.
Oh.
Serious change. I gotta readjust now.
You go here, Tim. Okay, we have a number of reorganization items that we want to take care of before we go into the executive session, which is on the agenda. So the item 11, item 9 on the agenda. Anybody?
Mr. President, I'd like to move items A through Q.
Moved and seconded, A through Q, subsection 9 on the agenda. I'll first ask if anybody wants to withdraw any of those items for individual voting. Mr. Shabilsky? Dr. Shabilsky.
Just a question on D for Tim. It looks like a prudent move to get rid of estimated monthly fees. Can you give me a sense of why they were there in the first place, and then the transition of 6 months as opposed to faster?
It's actually a transition of about 2 months, I'm thinking.
Well, it said January, February, but then later in that same resolution, it says TD Bank January to June 2018. So I don't know if that is meant to be February or not.
Oh,
On
no.
page 3.
Okay.
Are they
Summer
different
savings
issues
account.
and different
It's
costs?
a different type of account.
Okay.
The one account is a summer savings account. It's specifically designed for 10-month employees, and it ends in June. And so if you're a 10-month employee, you can save money for the summer.
Okay.
And then it's distributed in July and August. So if
Okay.
I tried to get rid of it now, I'd create a problem for our
Got it.
teachers, and I don't want to do that. So we'll keep that one account till June, but the rest of them, we're going to transition for the next 2 months.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So just to clarify, the TD bank account is being used as a transition until it gets moved into a PPAC?
Yeah,
Class
typically, I'm going to have to run the two bank accounts for a couple of months while I'm transitioning the monies into, because as you probably know and everybody else knows, the world is electronic now. So you kind of have to go through a full process to make sure the electronic transfers are going where they're supposed to go. Like most of our payroll is direct deposit, but even the tax payments we get are all direct deposit now. So it's going to take 2 months.
Okay, and Mr. Size, on item E, the blank in there, will that get inserted with my name as president?
Yes.
Okay.
And sorry, anywhere there's a spot for a president, you put Mr. Fallon in there.
I think that's the only spot in A through Q.
Yeah, that might be the only one.
Any other discussion, Mr. Mizia?
Please make it clear that Q is just the
Yeah.
committees that the president will be appointing board members to. These aren't the actual appointments.
That's correct, and I will, as past board presidents have done, ask each of you to send me an email with the committees you'd like to serve on, and I will do my best to honor and spread around the responsibilities for those committees. If you can try and do that within the next week or 10 days, I'll be ready by the next meeting to appoint committee members.
And as we do need, I know a lot of these end up empty representatives, so, yeah, so if anyone's interested, and if you can email Peter, if you don't mind, if they'll copy me,
Yes,
because we'll
copy the
start keeping the
superintendent,
list.
please.
And then we can, but if anyone's dying to serve in any of the representative positions, don't hold back, let us know.
We
And
can-
if any newer board members have questions about what some of the responsibilities are for them, what they entail, you can reach out to Peter or me.
Or to Liz, either one.
So to Lisa's point, we should, and I will move to table Q from our voting until the next meeting, since that will not be populated until the next meeting.
Unless we just want to rephrase this, say that these are the
These committees exist.
accepted committees. These are the approved committees to which
Yeah.
board members will be appointed.
On A through P, you should vote,
Impossible.
yeah, you shouldn't vote on Q.
Okay, just take it out.
That's really
Yeah.
what I think he's trying to
Well,
say.
So if Bob would take a friendly amendment to withdraw
We should make a
Q.
note for next
Make a
September.
note for next week.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's been a friendly amendment proposed by Dr. Shabilsky to remove Q as an item, since we are not making any appointments tonight. Do I have to ask all in favor of that amendment?
Needs to be seconded, and then
Yeah, seconded, and
Okay,
I,
will someone second that friendly amendment?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Do you need a roll call?
just one vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions? Thank you. Any other discussions on items A through P? Hearing none, Mr. Stiles, can you take a roll call vote?
Okay, excuse me, Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Mizio?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky,
Yes.
and Mr. Fallon.
Yes.
All right, motion's carried.
Now on our agenda is scheduled an executive session. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, be it hereby resolved that the board move into executive session for the purpose of discussing confidential personnel and student matters, after which action may be taken. It is expected that the matters discussed in the executive session will be made public as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Will someone make that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Generally, we'll be back here in a half an hour, and we endeavor to stick to that pretty closely. Okay, we're back in public session now. Do you have any board correspondence? Okay. This is the first opportunity for public comment. Members of the public who have comments on any agenda items are invited to step forward, identify themselves and the town they're from, and tell us what they want us to hear. Seeing no one step forward, I will close public comment, and we'll move on to committee reports. We have a committee report from the Education Committee that met last week. Mr. Mizio?
Yes, the Education Committee met on January 3rd. We discussed the German program. Our German teacher, Mr. Claude Chappelle, who he presently teaches German and ESL, he resigned and accepted an offer of employment to teach German full-time. The position has been posted, to date, 2 applications have been received. And once a replacement is found, parents of the students in the German classes, they'll be notified, but if we are unable to find a replacement, these students may need to finish the course online. But hopefully we will find someone. We discussed the potential new courses for the 2018-2019 school year. We're in the process of finalizing those courses. We discussed student wellness. Would you like to talk about, mention Chris Herron?
Everyone has this flyer in your folder. We do have, I know we've been talking about this quite a lot, so you probably all know about this by now, as it's been sent out by the Municipal Alliance, by the township, by the school. So we are co-sponsoring a speaker, a program, and by Tap Into, by the Echo Sentinel, we are co-sponsoring a speaker, Chris Herron, who is a former professional athlete, and then he's going to be speaking about his own battle with addiction and substance abuse. It is open to parents and students. We've actually opened it to our surrounding communities as well, and we're looking to have it live streamed into the South Auditorium, just because we're not quite sure how many people to expect. But this is a collaborative effort between the between the Warren Township, their police department, and the township itself, our municipal alliance, and the high school. We are all co-sponsoring it. The county prosecutor will also be here. And if any of you are attending, if you wouldn't mind letting me know in advance, just because we do want to recognize some of the folks that are going to be there that supported it. So I would just, we are going to either have a student or one of the staff members just make some acknowledgments at the beginning. So I would like to acknowledge any of you if you're going to be there for your support.
And just a quick follow-up, we took our son, he spoke in Baskin Ridge a couple of
Yes.
years ago. Really excellent presentation, so if you have an opportunity, I'd recommend it to anybody.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
And this is we are trying to bring more opportunities like this to just educate our community, both our parents and our students. So this is going to be followed by another night in March, which Lisa will speak a little bit more about, which is in the planning stages right now.
Right, but I do not have a lot of details, but on March 6th, the school will be hosting a night of conversation, during which issues facing students will be addressed, issues such as substance abuse and mental health issues, and the school will put together a panel of experts and of students to discuss these issues. I believe we're hoping to get a prosecutor, maybe a police officer. I'm not.
They were actually just sent me a version of the flyer today. So the prosecutor is going to be a panelist, one of our a couple of our staff members actually, as well as a young adult, I believe, who's going to speak about their own experience.
The Somerset County prosecutor or?
Yes.
Prosecutor?
Yes, Mike Robertson, the Somerset County prosecutor, has been very, very supportive of all of our district's efforts towards addressing substance abuse and all mental wellness overall. So he is going to try and come on, I believe he will be here on Wednesday evening, and he's going to be on the panel for the March night.
My only recommendation, I mean, would be that, it's great to have the prosecutor there too, but I would recommend maybe reaching out to the public defender's office as well, because the prosecutors see these cases, but the public defenders are the people who work, consistently with a lot of people who end up wrapped up in legal trouble due to problems like this. So, and I think, just from my knowledge of a lot of the people at the office down there, I think there would be, some people there who would be more than willing to participate. Prosecutors are good, they see this, but they don't work with them as much, personally as someone like a public defender does. So that'd be my only.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. I
Sean.
do some work in family court, and I do see that the public defenders dealing with parents of substance abuse issues, they definitely understand it more, they see it. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And the administration asked the Education Committee whether or not we would like to have a presentation, probably in February, addressing these issues, with these student issues, mental health and suicide, and what the school is doing to address these issues, how we have incorporated the information to help students into our curriculum, specifically our health curriculum. So the committee agreed that it would be a good idea to have this presentation, and the administration will prepare an outline of the presentation. And, like, for example, I believe we'll have the health teachers come in, and Ms. Phelan.
Probably our SAC, one of our SAC. Our student assistance counselor, as well as probably Jill Gleason, one of our health teachers who's been very involved in this effort and in coordinating the curriculum and the programs, and possibly another teacher or two.
So hopefully no one objects to that, but the committee thought it'd be a good idea to hear this.
And if I could add, I was at that meeting, and the idea is really to give the rest of us board members an idea of how much it is that the school's already doing in this area, so that we have the knowledge, so that if we're ever asked about it, we can, besides saying go talk to the administration, have some of this knowledge at hand and have a fuller understanding of what's being done here at the school on all of these issues. I'm sorry, Lisa.
No, thank you. That's fine. Recently, the board had discussions concerning our suspension policy, and the Education Committee discussed our current policy. Modifications were made to that policy with the comments made by board members were taken into consideration on the discussion that we had. Greg, remember last year you had some comments. We discussed comments and incorporated some of them into our policy. And we looked at a mandated regulation, because apparently we did not have the regulation. We had the policy without the regulation. So it's being worked, they're both being worked on and updated, and it'll come back to the committee, and then we'll present it to the entire board for discussion.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'm not done
Any
yet.
questions? I tried.
There's a back.
You want to entertain,
notes.
do you want to entertain Greg's question now, or do you want to wait till you're finished?
Just to that topic, was there discussion about threshold of communication to the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And you can, what I will actually be doing is I will do it with the first board meeting in February, I will give you a suspension report for January. And I'll do that with the first board meeting of each month.
And what we discussed at that meeting is that we actually do have a policy that provides for notification to the board when there are suspensions.
Or it's in statute.
Of any sort,
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Any-
it's in the regulations.
It's in the
No,
statute.
it's statute.
It's in statute.
Statute, yeah, so
Yeah.
the administration is required to inform us.
We just haven't done that before, so I will do, and what I will do is, I'll try it out in a certain format, and if there's different information that you want, you can let me know.
Thank you.
Sorry for interrupting again.
It's okay. And the administration has begun a discussion of the school's integrity guidelines, which involves things such as cheating and academic dishonesty. The discussions are being held with teachers and students to inform them of what these guidelines are and how they're applied. And that on Thursday, the principal will be having a meeting with staff to further discuss this issue. Our school has been asked to host a learning walk, which is conducted by the county supervisor of Somerset County. Because the school is well-regarded, there's a group that want to come in and visit our classrooms. 9 teachers have volunteered. Every department is represented, and that will occur on January 24th.
And what do they do?
And they're just going to visit the classrooms and just observe the classes.
It's similar to what we did administratively last year, where we conducted learning walks, and we looked at a particular, what you call a problem of practice. And it's what a lot of schools are looking at in terms of student engagement and questioning. So you're looking overall, you're not evaluating, it's not an evaluative learning walk,
Right.
it's looking at implementation of, yes, of certain practices, and usually pick an area of focus. And so it's a learning, it's professional development for the administrators doing the learning walk. And I really, credit our teachers with being very open and willing to volunteer and share their classrooms. So when the county was looking for a school district to host, our teachers, were already used to this from last year. And so we had a number of teachers who willingly volunteered, which, so we're very appreciative because it helps the community, the county community as a whole with their learning.
And it's a program run by the county superintendent to invite administrators from all over the county to come visit certain schools and see how they do things. So the combination of the assistance and the buy-in that we've had from our own teaching staff, that they're comfortable with this and willing to do it, plus the exposure it gives Watch on Hills in the rest of the county, is something we believe is helpful to the district as well.
And I just want to mention that because this has occurred in the past, Mr. Morrison suggested that if we're going to do this going forward, that we should set one day aside so teachers could know when it's going to occur and prepare for it. I'm finished. A lot of questions?
Greg?
With respect to the integrity guidelines and code of ethics, somewhat like we signed a document affirming that we've received that information. Just out of curiosity, do students receive that annually? Do they have an affirmative response to that or not? If not, do other schools do that? And any thoughts or discussion about that idea?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Well, the code of
Dr.
conduct
Shablowski.
every year, right, don't you require students to kind of sign off, they've received the code of conduct?
The difference now is everything's electronic, so
But there's
they,
a form that they have
Yeah,
to check,
they
I
have-
right?
recall that my kids had to do that.
but I'll follow up specifically with the integrity guidelines. I'll find out about that. And I know this is something that Mr. Alexis is discussing at his county principal meetings as well, because it's something
Yeah.
being discussed at a lot
Yeah.
of schools.
Right.
And it's something being discussed with our students and with the staff to get input, but I'll follow up on that and
So
find
the
out.
integrity
Thank you.
guidelines, just so I'm clear, are something separate and apart from the student conduct code?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a technology code that I'm pretty sure they have to check
Yeah.
off
Yes.
on, right? Then there's
Photograph.
there's a code of conduct,
It's
which
probably
they
Genesis
probably
too.
should be checking off on. And then the question is, these integrity guidelines, maybe they should also be checking off on that.
Yeah, I'll find out, because I don't believe,
Okay.
I'll ask, since we now have the benefit of having a student on the board.
You're on the spot.
Freddie, I know, I'm not, but you may not recall, if you, and actually, that's another good point, because if it's just being checked off on Genesis, which is, we've changed our structure of some of those things, because of a lot of things were check boxes on Genesis.
Sometimes the parents also have to check
Yeah.
off on them?
So it's been a while since I was a freshman, but when I was a freshman, I do think I remember signing something or receiving a handbook, but now it's on Genesis and it's
electronic.
quick and easy, you just click and go. To be honest, I'm all about being open. I don't really put much time reading into it, I just click it and move it forward.
I know it's,
sure most
they
people
also
do.
go over those things at the class assemblies, those first days of school. These are things they review, and we've modified that each year, partly because everything's electronic and we know that they may not be taking the time to read it. So I'll follow up specifically on that, though, and I can get the board that information.
And when we talk about integrity guidelines, are we, in terms of the students being part of making the decisions? So is the idea that we want them to have the buy-in, to understand that how this helps them, hurts others, and so that they have some ownership in this to get them to buy in to the process?
Yeah, it's because the issue, what we've, our initial analysis of this is that the problem is not with the integrity guidelines. The guidelines are what they are.
Right.
It's with the actual following through
Implementation.
of them and implementation of them. So that's what we're doing examination regarding.
Barry, you wanted to make a point
Well,
about the athletic, or?
yeah, but you just said it's the same thing, even though you're doing athletics and you have to sign a code of conduct, it's the same thing, you click it and move on.
Well, we've adjusted that where we now are going over it at the assemblies at the beginning of the year because that was something that we realized was a problem. That actually changed for this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing when you're doing online acceptances for forms. You just scroll all the way to the bottom, accept, move on. Maybe it should be printed as a PDF sent to their email and harass them.
Well, and that's part of it, part of the problem with the implementation, it could be a lack of awareness of what they actually are. So that's what we're looking to get at. All great suggestions.
Bob?
I would think this topic would also hopefully find its way into our
ESLRs.
ESLRs. So I think that, we can take a holistic
that's
approach
it.
to this
Yeah.
about the type of student that we want to turn out here. I
Yes,
would hope
agreed,
that
agreed.
acting with integrity would be one of the cornerstones.
Here, here.
Excellent alignment. Good
Anything
connection.
else? We didn't have superintendent's comments on the agenda, did you?
No, I just wanted to highlight, I know I'm not supposed to comment at the work session, but I just wanted to highlight the Chris Herron event.
Okay. And I'll just remind everybody, you got the acknowledgement of receipt of the Code of Ethics. Try and sign it before you leave and give it to Mr. Skies.
We just signed it.
Just check this.
But we had to sign it. We had to actually sign it.
You walked right into that one.
Barry, at least we made you sign it. I didn't give you a checkbox. Okay. I don't think there's any other committee reports unless somebody
That was the
has
only one we
something
squeezed
different.
in.
Okay. Now, it's time for board discussion of the items that will be on for action items at the business meeting, which is our next meeting. They're on your agendas from page 7 through the top of page 10.
Just a quick comment on A3. It seems to be out of sync, I assume because of our moving this meeting, that we pushed the next meeting to January 23rd, is that correct? But that's not true on the A3 item.
Yeah, it's confusing, isn't it? It's,
Oh, wait.
It says the 16th.
Yeah,
Yeah, this says the 16th, but on here it says the 23rd, so just wanted to make sure that,
Oh, and it should say the 23rd on there.
okay.
It should say the 23rd.
Oh, it
on
is the
that
23rd?
calendar.
So it is actually,
It's gonna
It
snow
is
that
actually the
day.
23rd, I think, so it's wrong on our
Okay.
calendar. It is actually the 20, it's definitely the 23rd, because we have the student awards that night, and so we set that a while ago. No, the board calendar was incorrect. I don't know how that got changed.
well, that's not A3 though.
I don't know what,
It's saying preview item A3, I don't know what that
That's
means.
this one.
A3 is the school year
oh,
calendar.
A3, that's the school year
That's what I'm-
calendar. You're looking at the board calendar,
I
board
am.
meeting calendar, which you're saying says January 16th,
What
Marty?
I'm saying is, what I'm
That's
saying is,
incorrect.
item 6 says all these items will be voted at January 23rd,
Yes.
and then this says our next meeting is January
Oh, I
16th.
get it.
Yes, that's wrong.
there
That
you
is,
go.
That's what I'm saying.
absolutely incorrect. Where's that in our? The
so we
board
need
calendar?
to amend the calendar before we
Yeah,
approve.
this board calendar.
The board meeting is
No,
scheduled.
no, wait, which one the one I have says the 23rd.
This says January 23rd.
The one
Mine
that's in our
says January
packet
16th.
has
Our packet says
16.
The packet says.
What does yours say,
16th.
Liz?
That white
Mine
one.
says the 23rd.
That's funny, so we must have an old version. We don't have South Auditorium.
Yeah, ours
Any of
says
that.
23rd. I mean 16.
That was in our packet online.
Can I see yours, Chris? This is very
Yeah, it says the
confusing.
16th.
The hard copy of mine says 23rd, South Auditorium.
Okay, so we seem to
I
have a
don't
couple
have that
different
one.
versions.
I have 16.
Yeah, I have one.
Oh, wow.
That's the online version. And I have the,
No, that's not the
No,
online
this
version.
isn't.
That was in my packet.
Yeah, I
Well, it doesn't say
apologize. The one that.
All I need to know is where I'm gonna be at the
January
next meeting.
23rd.
Okay.
Yes,
But
Chris, thank
after
you
that,
for
it'll be
pointing
on-
that out.
It'll be on my phone, hopefully,
We
after
should
that.
make sure Bruce, yeah, I don't know where that one came from.
Yeah, the next boarding, sorry guys, the next board meeting is January 23rd in the South Auditorium.
the harder question is, what did we vote on when we voted on the board calendar?
Well, you voted on an attachment, but,
Which was two different versions.
see, I only have this for a year. I have the January 23rd version. But
Attachment online
So is that the version of record?
The attachment
The
on
January
the
23rd is the correct one.
That's the correct one, but for the record, January 23rd is our next public board
This is
meeting.
a really old one because this is before we reset the,
Yeah, I
we
know.
changed a number of dates on
We
here.
did.
So somebody printed out some old ones.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, this one's
So this,
different.
a lot
This
of
is
this
really
is wrong?
old.
Excuse me?
A lot of this is wrong? The one that was in our
Yeah,
packet?
the one that
Just
says
use the one on
January
the online
16th, there's
packet.
there's, we changed a couple of those.
Because even, I'm just before, but I remember off the top of my head, like the negotiation next year's wrong, the dates I remember.
Yes.
the wrong.
Okay, so look at the online
I
packet.
Yes.
apologize about
And
that.
integrity policy.
I'm only seeing one date, two dates.
Yeah, January.
And the reorg next year is January 8, 2019,
Eight.
Right.
We changed it to the following
I would just
Tuesday.
ignore the whole.
as opposed to. So there's two dates that changed, actually.
You don't need
The first
permission
and
for it
last.
to take place after the first week?
If it's a matter of us getting a quorum, and because Monday night's Greenbrooks, and we can't do it then,
You don't
he's
need
okay with that.
permission each
I let
time?
the, yeah, I let the county superintendent know, and he's okay with that.
Let me ask one other question. Invites, so they appear on our calendars? Do they go out?
Once we approve the appropriate calendar, yes, tomorrow they will all go out.
Awesome.
They will all go out,
That's all I care about.
yes. Thank you for pointing that out, though, because a lot of folks saw the 16th instead of the 23rd.
Yeah, but that's.
That would have been.
That would have been.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Can be here.
Okay, that,
Although I would have been like, where's the
does anyone else have any comments on the items we're voting on at the January 23rd meeting? Questions, comments?
Yeah. So,
And Mr. Stiles, on D 6 and 7, you anticipate you'll have amounts to put in there by the Learning and Language Disabilities Program tuition structure?
Yeah, actually for 5, 6,
Six.
and 7, as soon as I get the state guidelines, I may have to pull this one off because I was reading that we may not get it as early as I hope.
Okay,
It's usually early January, now we're
Right.
talking mid to late January, so that may be a problem for me to calculate the tuition cost.
okay,
So I may just have
if we
to-
don't, we'll pull them to,
Yeah.
we have them.
It's the one she put on the board, yeah, I just saw that now. In the folders.
Finally, any other questions or comments on the action items for the next meeting, January 23rd? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items A1 through A12.
Second.
Any discussion on items A1 through A12? Mr. Stiles, could we have a roll call vote?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Mizio?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Okay, motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items C1 through C5.
Second.
Any discussion on items C1 through C5? Dr. Shabilsky?
Just in the absence, and with respect to Sandy, I want to acknowledge with thanks from the board, the resignation on retirement of Mr. Leffler and the resignation of Mr. Chappelle for all of their long service to the school, although much shorter tenure of Mr. Crawford, but likewise.
Thank you, Dr. Shabilsky.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments on C1 through C5? Mr. Stiles, do we have a vote?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Mizio? Mr.
Yes.
Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move D1 through D4.
Second.
Any questions or comments on D1 through D4? Hearing none. Mr. Stiles, do we have a vote?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
DeMizio?
Yes.
Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Dr. Spilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
We get now to the second opportunity for public comment. This period for public comment is not limited to items on the agenda. If any members of the public or staff would like to come forward and say anything to the board, please feel free to do so now. Seeing none, I will close the period for public comment. Anybody have any other business?
Are we getting
Wrong.
an email from you that says, please tell me what you want to be, committee you want to be on?
No,
Are we
just
supposed to
send an
just
email.
gonna
Would you
Send
like
send
me
it
to
to
send out
you
an
as
email?
by date?
Would you like me
We'll
to
we'll
send?
send out an email
That you
that'll
can reply
have
to, both of
Liz's
us,
and my address on
to
it, so you
reply
can
to.
reply.
And
reply
say
it'll
by
go to both
X
of us.
date, please?
What I can
I
do
need
too
deadlines.
is we can send, what we'll do to make it super easy is we'll send an individual one to everyone. I'll copy Peter, and that way you can just hit reply all, and it'll only go to the two of us. So we'll send it, you'll actually get a personal invitation.
What's the deadline that I need?
You're gonna
so
get a
that
ton
I
of
know
emails in the next couple
to
days
do
too,
it by?
because you'll get all the Google
Because
Calendar
otherwise I'll be
invites.
like,
Friday at 2 o'clock's the deadline.
that's
So-
fine, as long as there's a deadline.
And you, just so you would like, so we'll send you a deadline with that, no problem,
You're aggressive for this Friday, Mary.
no problem.
Bob?
I just would like to call the board's attention that the next County School Boards Association meeting for Somerset County will feature Watch on Hill's one and only business administrator, Mr. Tim Stiles, who will be giving a riveting presentation on the budget process
Complaining about you guys the whole time.
for other, for,
When is that, Bob?
for all the other county school board members, so.
Okay, and as an added attraction, it will not feature food from, what's the Italian
Oh,
restaurant?
Maggiano's.
Yeah, we're going to a school this time, so you'll get a bit of a change from the standard monthly, or bi-monthly menu.
Are you going to eat at Trade Winds? Is that what it's gonna be?
Trade winds, yeah. Isn't it?
Oh, that's,
I think, is it the VOTEC?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
VOTEC, yeah.
oh, the students are serving, that would be nice.
Other-
Yeah, I think it's the last Thursday of this month, I
I
believe.
think the 25th.
And emails, you should all be getting emails from the School Boards Association with these meeting dates, so it would be great to, if we could be out there in full force to support our colleague here.
Then I can't complain about you.
He showed up to my presentation.
It's
He
true.
showed up to my presentation, I think I have to go.
That's right.
That's right,
That's right, you showed up to mine, too.
that's right. They were good.
Right in a row.
Okay.
I will also mention, under other business, the WHREA mid-year holiday party is this Friday at Chimney Rock in Gillette from 3 until 6. And because of the inclement weather and school being closed last year, if any of you are interested in attending, you have until tomorrow to submit a check to the office made out to WHREA for $15, and you can attend the holiday party. I don't see any other business. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.